Hi everyone, good morning or good afternoon, whatever time it is you're watching this. I hope you're having a great day. And today we are starting a new unit and a whole new idea. I know what you're thinking. We're still looking at shapes though. Yes, we are, but we're going to be looking at shapes in a different way. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about in just 1 second. So, any shape can be divided into parts, and if you look at this circle here, it's split into 4 parts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and with how these parts are split into, we call this equal parts. See how this part where the mouse is that I'm circling in, uh, it's the same size as this part, and it's the same size as this part, and also this part. So we would call this equal parts when everything is the same size. All right. Now, if we look at this circle, we still see that it's split into 4 different parts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, but you see how they're all different sizes? This first part is bigger than the second part, and the third part is much bigger than the second and last part. So we have 2 big parts and then 2 little parts. So this is not equal parts like that first circle that we saw. Now, which shape has equal parts? Is it going to be the orange shape or the blue shape? It's going to be this orange shape over here. Because see how each part it has, they're the same size. So we would say that the orange rectangle has equal parts. This blue rectangle, see how one part is much bigger than the other? It does not have equal parts. So how many equal parts does this orange shape have? It has 2 equal parts. See how it's split into 2? 1, 2 right here. Okay. Okay. Now, which shape out of the yellow shape and the green one has 4 equal parts? Which one is it? The yellow or green? It's the yellow because you can count 4 different areas. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the yellow shape or the yellow rectangle has 4 equal parts. The green rectangle only has 2. See how it's just split into 2 little parts? Well, one really little part and then one big part. And that's not equal at all. The yellow has 4 equal parts because they're all the same size. All right, now that we understand the new idea of this unit, let's go into some work for today. Okay, for this next part, you are going to need to get your math workbooks. Okay, if you don't have your math workbook, then go ahead, pause the video, and make sure you go get it. If you have your math workbook, make sure that you're seeing page 16-1, and at the top it says reteaching. Okay? Now, if you need to open up to that page real quick, make sure you pause the video, open up your book to that page. All right, if you have your book open, let's get cooking. All right, so remember, we're talking about equal parts. See how this first pie right here, it's split into 4 parts, but each part is oh my goodness, I'm doing an awful job drawing right here. But so every part is the same size. So the part with this number 1 in it is the same size as the number 2, and it's all the same size as 3 and the number 4 side. So they're all the same size. There's nothing different about them. But this other pie over here, see how that has a really big part where the number 1 is? Super big. And then where the number 2 that I'm making, it's very small. Where the number 3 is also different. Where the number 4 is right here, that's also a different size. So they're not equal parts. So that's what we're going to be working on. What does have equal parts and what doesn't. If it does have equal parts, we have to be able to tell how many. So let's go ahead and take a look at number 1. So number 1 says write the number of equal parts on each shape. Only if it has equal parts. So remember the 2 pies up here? The first one had 4 equal parts, but the other pie didn't have any. So we would write a 0. Okay? So for this first big rectangle that's split up into pieces, they all look the same size. And what I like to do to make sure I know how many parts it has is I number them. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So how many parts does this rectangle have? It has 4 parts, and they all look the same. So we could write that it has 4 equal parts. All right, let's check out number 2. Number 2, it's split into 2 parts, right? But are they the same size? They're not. They're not the same size at all. So remember, how many equal parts does this rectangle have now? It doesn't have any. So we would write a 0 because it does not have any equal parts. All right. And if we go down to number 3, we see this circle right here. And we see it has 2 parts, 1 and 2. But do they look the same size? Or does one part look bigger than the other? One part definitely looks bigger than the other. Look where I wrote the number 1. See how big this section is? It looks pretty big. And then where the number 2 is, it looks kind of squished because it's such a smaller piece. So they have 0 equal parts. Okay, number 4 is going to be the last one I kind of walk you through. Okay, and then in a second, you're going to try number 5 and 6 all on your own. Okay, so for number 4 right here, does it have more than one part? It sure does. So I like to number them, 1 and 2. Does each part look about the same size? They do. The part with the number 1 looks like it's the same size as the part with the number 2 in it. So we know that they're equal. And how many parts do we have? Well, we already counted out because I always like to number each part, and you can do the same thing if you like. So now that I numbered the parts, I know that there are 2 equal parts. All right, and that's it. Now for number 5, it's going to look goofy, but don't let it scare you. Okay, don't let it scare you. Use the same ideas we were already using. And I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to try number 5 all on your own. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds. Do number 5 all on your own. If it has equal parts, on this line right here, write down how many equal parts. If it doesn't have equal parts, make sure you write a 0 because that means that it does not have anything that is the same size. All right, so I'll give you guys just a couple seconds. Go ahead and work on that. All right, I think you guys should be done by now. If you still need time, that's fine. Just hit the pause button on the video. Okay, so what I like to do is first I look at if each shape looks about the same size, and they do. Even though they made a diagonal line right here, it still looks completely even. This part right here looks the same as this part. Okay? And now that we know that they look the same and that they are equal, how many parts do we have? Well, if you're like me and you like to number them, you know that we have one, two equal parts. So we would just write number 2 on this line. And next, do number 6 all on your own. I'll give you guys a few seconds. Remember, first, figure out if the parts look equal. If they do, write down how many equal parts on this line here. All right, I think that might be enough time. If you need more time, just hit that pause button. But if you're all good to go, let's check our answer. So these parts all look the same size. They all look like equal parts. And now that we can tell that they all look even, we can go ahead and number them. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. So then we would just write we have 4 equal parts. And that's it. So let's go ahead and turn the page and go over your assignment for today. So now your paper should say at the very top, practice 16-1. All right, this is going to be your assignment for today. But as always, I am not going to leave you guys high and dry and just say best of luck. No, no. I'm going to walk through each one with you real quick, tell you what you're supposed to do, and if you want, you could even go ahead and start writing down your answers as we talk about it. Okay, so for this top part here, this top section where it's numbers 1 through 6. Is the directions say write how many equal parts the shape has. If the parts are not equal, so if they're not the same size, you write a 0. Just like what we just did. Okay, we just got done practicing this, so you guys should be rock stars at it. So number 1, we have a big rectangle. If parts look equal, tell me how many right here on this line. Remember, if they do not look equal, you're going to write a 0. You're going to do the same thing for number 1, number 2. Does that look equal? Does number 3 look equal? Number 4, do they all look even and equal? How about number 5? And then there's number 6, which is a fancy little circle and split into 3 parts. So after you do those 6, you're going to move on down. And let's read these other set of directions and find out what they want us to do. It says draw straight lines to divide these shapes into equal parts listed. So for this rectangle here, they want you to make it into 2 equal parts. Okay? Now we've seen this done with shapes already. You can always look at the top of your paper for some help. Here's a little hint. Number 5, that's a rectangle. I'm just saying. Just saying. And also, here's another little hint. Whatever many parts they want, you're just going to make one less line than the amount of parts that they want. So if they want 2 parts, you make 1 line. Watch. I'll use a triangle. for an example. So if they say 2 equal parts, watch this. I'm just going to draw a line down the middle. That's one line, and it makes 2 equal parts. Okay? If I have a different shape and they want 4, well, 4 is where they get tricky. And remember, after you draw your lines, you can always count the parts that you just made. So let's do a circle for 4, because it's different than what we have here. If they want 4 equal parts, I'm going to draw a line down here. I have 1, 2, and I can just make one more line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I have 4 equal parts. Just make sure you're taking your time with this one, because this is a little bit trickier than what we have been doing on the other side of this page. And then for the for the circle, again, they just want 2 equal parts. Okay. The one I think you guys might have some trouble with is this square that wants 4 equal parts. My fancy little rule for the drawing lines doesn't really go for it. But remember, this hint is with this circle here. I can make it into 4 equal parts. This is a hint. Use it to help you for that square. Okay? That's the only one I think you guys might have a little trouble with, but I gave you this nice hint. I think the circle, you're going to do awesome. The rectangle, you'll do awesome. As soon as you're done, take a picture of it, send it to your teacher. And if you have questions, of course, ask your teacher, okay? I hope you guys think that this is still staying pretty fun, messing around with shapes. I love messing around with shapes. I think they're fun. It doesn't feel like math, but guess what? It is. It's all math. So, I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you all again next time, all right? So have a great day.